Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. It's Friday, May 16th. It's actually a long weekend here north of the border in Canada, May 2-4, as they call it. Victoria Day weekend. Of course, it'll be Memorial Day weekend next weekend in the U.S., but back-to-back weekends where there's a holiday on either side of the border. It's Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with us again. Now, still waiting on his internet phone, but he is with us. It's almost like the equivalent of Alex getting to us through tin can and string to make it work here on the show today for him joining us. And look who's here. It's our old friend. Good to see him in the midst of his ECHL Kelly Cup playoffs run, a fourth straight run to a potential Kelly Cup championship for Jordan Sandbrook and the Florida Everblades. And he's been nice enough to take some time away to join us here in the middle of the playoff run as his team gets ready for an Eastern Conference final series beginning this weekend against Trois-Rivières, as I use my French accent to perfection. Jordan, good to see you again. How are you?
Great to see you guys. Thank you very much. I'm doing great. Like you said, ready for the upcoming series here.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll talk about that first. Obviously, first two rounds, you swept Jacksonville, the Icemen, in the opening round. 5-game victory in the second round against the Orlando Solar Bears. Are you ever going to show any mercy, any sympathy, pity for these Florida teams in the ECHL? Like, you dummy them every year. You own these guys, Orlando, Jacksonville. They can't do shit. They go up against the Everblades and they just become mincemeat against you guys.
I know it's crazy, but on our side of it, it's awesome. Obviously, everybody knows the grind of the playoffs and playing in it, and when you can, finish that series in 4 or 5 like we've done so far this year, it does help quite a bit. That way you get some more rest, and obviously guys have some injuries and whatnot. So it's great that we can do it early, and yeah, just looking forward to the next round here.
Yeah, the mic should be good now. It was just on the wrong setting, but there we go. Now sounds a lot better, no doubt. Now, look, this is Jordan's with his team. They're trying to go for 4 in a row with the Kelly Cup, but you were not on one of those teams. This would be your third with Florida, because there was that 1 year you were not on the team. So it's a weird scenario, but this would be the 4th in a row for the team to try to win it. Compared to last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, is it just the same amount of excitement, the same amount of, we really, do you still have that fire in your belly to keep it going? Do you feel that you're battling some fatigue because you've made long playoff runs now the last few years? And is there still maybe some stress, some anxiety, like the overall temperament for you and the team at this stage right now?
No, it's definitely, we still have that drive to get another one. I feel like, once you win one, then you're like, oh my God, this feeling's amazing, that I want this again. And then obviously for me and the team, I got my second one there, and then going for the third, it's the same type of excitement and something that I'm really looking forward to. And definitely no fatigue for me. Just the energy's up. And like I said, when we finished that round a little early last time, we last played on Saturday, so almost a week off. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that next one. And I know all the guys in the room, kind of with the Everblades organization as a whole, just the winning mentality and the confidence that we have, but knowing that being confident is only one thing. We got to back it up with our work ethic and play on the ice. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it, and I definitely want to get my third. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. You're third, the team's 4th in a row. Like I said, this would be an ECHL dynasty, really, if you're able to pull this off and win 4 in a row. And we were talking just backstage before the show started, Jordan, about the fact that your next opponent is Trois-Rivières, who won their last series against Norfolk to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And we were talking about how this Trois-Rivières team is the Montreal Canadiens ECHL affiliate. And why is that significant? Because the Montreal Canadiens have one of the deepest prospect pools in the NHL right now. And when you look at that organization, with all the high draft picks they've had the last few years of obviously being, one of the worst teams in the NHL, They've been able to accumulate great talent, great draft picks. They've been able to restock and just completely fill up that cupboard of high-end prospects. That now when you look at this organization, they've already seen a lot of those guys debut this year for the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL. You see now the Laval Rocket in the American Hockey League, their AHL affiliate, what they're doing right now. They won game 1 of the division finals against Rochester the other night. They're poised for maybe a long playoff run in the AHL Calder Cup playoffs. And now here you have Trois-Rivières, Montreal's ECHL affiliate, in the conference finals. And it's a large part due to the organizational depth that they now have and all the high-end picks and all the high-end prospects that they've been able to draft over the years. So my thought to you, and it sounded like you agree, it's going to be a great test for you in the Blades.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Like we talked about there backstage, it was a lot of pre-scout this week, a lot of video and all that stuff going into it. So we make sure we're as prepared as we can be. And like I said, just try to back it up on the ice. And yeah, definitely will be a good series. I mean, all 4 teams that are left are obviously good teams. So, so yeah, it should be a good one.
And then talking about, like I said, the run over the last 4 years, and like I said, the battles that you've had with Orlando and Jacksonville, and then of course you tie it into the team that's about to play tonight in the NHL, the Florida Panthers. And I said it semi-jokingly, but it really does lend credence as it goes on year after year that Florida is the new state of hockey. Like I said, you guys have dominated in that league, and like I said, having those battles not just throughout the season. I mean, you guys play Orlando and Jacksonville often during the season, but then to have those battles in the postseason as well, I'm sure that's doing nothing but growing the sport in those towns where you are, and all those 3 cities, and then you add in the rapid success of the Panthers, a franchise where they were the laughing stock of the league just 7-8 years ago. We joke about everybody dressed as empty seats and the whole bit. And now they have a solid fan base and a great franchise.
I miss being able to say that about that venue, that Amarant Bank Arena. I do.
But I'm happy for them, because and as much as we shit on, especially me, on Gary Bettman with his expansion plans and some of his ideas, he got it right with Florida and stayed the course. Because there was often times where we say, well, get the Panthers out of there. It doesn't seem like it's working, but if you win, they show up. We saw that with Tampa Bay, and now to see that with Florida as well, and then to see what you guys are doing in the coast as well. And even you look at club hockey teams in Florida, University of Tampa, which is Division II and all other sports on the NCAA level, but they have one of the best club hockey programs in the country growing. University of Florida, University of Miami also having club hockey as well. So all of that together, that's great for building the sport in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, it really is. I think we averaged just over 6,000 fans a game this year for ECHL hockey. I think we were top 5 in the league. So even like around the rink, we have 2 recreational rinks attached to our big rink, and those rinks are packed nonstop with hockey tournaments and hockey, whatever it may be, and just the buzz around the rink. My fiance being from Florida, she didn't really know too much about hockey beforehand, but even like her family friends up in like St. Petersburg, Tampa area, like they're all into hockey. The kids are playing hockey, they want to come to our games. And it's great to see, really, because obviously being from Canada, we live and breathe hockey nonstop, but to see it kind of expand down here to the Sunshine State, then it's great for the game and only going to be beneficial for it going forward.
No question. It is good to see it. I mean, I was watching, and I've watched a lot of the AHL and ECHL. Alex knows that. We get the access with the every game. We were able to see every AHL playoff game, every ECHL playoff game, and I tuned into a couple of Jordan's Florida Everblades games in the last round against Orlando. Even the building in Orlando, I thought the vibe was pretty good.
It was
those games. They did some crazy thing on Mother's Day where it was like mom's dance cam or something during one of the breaks.
It was something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool that they did that. Really, really good stuff that they let the moms basically show off in front of the camera for Mother's Day. But that was good stuff for the games. And we know you're building there at is it still the Hertz Center, I believe, down there in Otero, man. They rock pretty good. For the playoff games for you guys. That crowd support must be great. It's probably one of the best buildings in the ECHL. And I'm not saying that to be a homer for Florida Everblades. I mean, I think it's true. It's a great home environment you got there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's perfect. The size, I think it holds like up close to 8,000 with full capacity with standing room only, which we had last year during the finals and all that. But I feel like it's a perfect size for everything. And obviously, yeah, the support that we get down here is unbelievable. And with all even the snowbirds coming down, a bunch of Canadians and all the Northerners at the games and all that stuff. And then by the time the finals hits June, it's just the local people, I guess, but still sold out. So the support is unbelievable.
There you we got Stir and Co. I think he's cheering Kansas City, the Mavericks. Stir
I
and
know.
Co.
I saw he was
He said have number 24 fight Diamond Hands in the finals when you guys play. Do we know if KC's going to the finals yet? You guys lost game 1. Like, let's win. Can we beat Toledo first before we say we're in the finals? That's all I'm asking.
Old Kyle Neuber. I'll have to tell him that one.
Is his nickname Neuber the Goober? I don't know.
Some people do call him that, but he calls himself the Bone Saw is his nickname.
Nice.
I remember him from the OHL. I do. He was in the OHL.
He played for
and that guy fought every night. It felt like,
Mississauga St. Michael's Majors is what it was.
Yeah. He got in a scrap every night. Big fucking guy, if you've ever seen him too, and just one of these types that you look at him and he just looks like a hockey player and one you don't want to mess around with. When you look at Kyle Neuber, no doubt. So Jordan, just to reiterate, you're starting tomorrow, right? Saturday, game 1.
Correct. Yeah, tomorrow and Sunday are games 1 and 2 at home. Some of the people might not know, but in the ECHL, most of the schedule is 2 games at home, then 3 away, then 2 back at home.
3-2.
So a little different than the NHL, but it's just to limit travel and all that. So then Wednesday, Friday, Saturday we'll be up in Trois-Rivières.
No doubt. Get your French ready. You're up there. You better practice that and brush up on it before you head up there. So, Jordan, we wish you all the best, obviously, with that.
Yes.
And like I said, we'll definitely I'll certainly be watching. And again, that gets underway tomorrow. Trois-Rivières, Florida in the east. And, of course, Toledo and Kansas City are going on in the west as the conference finals in the ECHL are underway. Before we turn to hockey, I got to admit, because I got it on television in front of me right now, what's going on with this PGA Championship leaderboard? Jordan's a big golf guy, loves playing golf, loves watching golf. And there's no Bryson DeChambeau, there's no Rory McIlroy, there's no John Rahm, there's no Scotty Scheffler on the top of this leaderboard. I'm seeing Jonathan Vegas, who's crushing this course and making it look like he's Jack Nicklaus out there, destroying this Quail Hollow course here in North Kakalaki. Then you got Matthew Pavon, Max Homa, Ryan Gerard, Luke Donald. Does that guy still play golf? Holy shit. 5 under, tied for 3rd. Luke Donald, he's still around.
He might kick himself for the Ryder Cup team this year.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, Luke Donald's like in the mix here so not exactly the leaderboard we expected at this stage of the PGA Championship, Jordan, is it?
No, definitely not. Yeah, there's some interesting names up there, but like I said, probably good to see that I know everybody wants a battle for Rory and Scotty and Bryson at the top, but I mean, who knows? Come Sunday, maybe that'll come around. I'm sure it will. Bryson's close, so we'll see.
Yeah, Bryson had a good second round. Maybe he can get back in. Yeah, our guy Taylor Pendrith, Matt Robinson, he knows Taylor Pendrith very well and good friends with Taylor's caddy, Mitch. He was also was drafted by the Islanders way back when, actually into the NHL, Mitch. Now caddy for Taylor Pendrith. So Matt's good buddies with the two of them. So he's always cheering on Taylor Pendrith every week. And tied 10 right now for Pendrith. That's good.
That's real good.
Where you want to be. You give yourself a chance that way. No question. So interesting to see how that tournament plays out the rest of the weekend. Let's recap last night. We had just the one game, obviously, in the NHL last night, Dallas and Winnipeg. Not really all that shocked with the end result. I was pretty not very sure, but I said Winnipeg's probably got a good chance to at least take this back to Dallas for Game 6 last night. And sure enough, they were able to do that in front of their home fans. Didn't want to see their season end in front of the whiteout. I thought they came out. They were definitely the better team last night. They came out and dominated the first period. It was only scoreless because of Jake Ottinger, who was absolutely spectacular last night in the first period. Jake Ottinger was absolutely tremendous, absolutely phenomenal. And Winnipeg had a bunch of great chances, just couldn't bury one. And sure enough, the first goal finally goes in for Winnipeg. And it's a total fluke type, lucky bounce type break goal where it goes in off Thomas Harley and in. But you'll take it at this time of year. That gave Winnipeg the 1-0 lead. And then Dallas, again, Winnipeg had unbelievable chances at the end of the second period on that power play to score. I mean, Jake Ottinger made a save with his backside on one shot from Gabe Vilardi. He was turned to look at the net, and his back was to the shooter, Vilardi, and Vilardi just hit him in the pants with it, and somehow kept it out. Ottinger was brilliant. And then, of course, in the third period, 5-on-3 last night, 5-on-3. Yeah, that's right, Carolina. You know why I didn't mention Carolina-Washington? Because that series was just such a snore fest to me, Jared. You're right. We had Carolina-Washington last night. That's true. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, Nikolai Ehlers was great last night, made it 2-0. And then Winnipeg added to it a little bit later. Nemesnikov 3-0, and that was pretty much all she wrote at that point. I know there's a lot of talk about what happened with Jamie Benn and Mark Scheifele. Yeah, did he cross the line a little bit? Yeah, you could say that with the punch there. But at the end of the day, you're taking a pound of flesh. I don't mind that. You're at least showing some, hey, we don't like this getting shut out like this on the road and with a chance to win the series. You know, Ben showed that. We don't like it. We're going down swinging, literally swinging in that game, obviously throwing that punch at Ben. He got fined the max today. That's kind of what I expected. I didn't expect a suspension. I mean, I think the people calling for suspension are getting a little carried away.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't like a shot from behind. It wasn't an elbow to the head. It wasn't, cross-checking someone into the boards from behind. So you look at it and it's just, you got a little too carried away, but it's not like it's anything that I think was suspendable. But nevertheless, great job by Winnipeg. Clearly the better team last night. And now they put themselves in a spot where all they have to do is win one road game, just one road game. And you could somehow be back there in Game 7 in a building where you've played well. You've gotten better at home in every game in these playoffs. You've shut out Dallas now in back-to-back home games, Game 2 and in Game 5. So if you can somehow find a way to finally win a road game, and if this Connor Hellebuck can finally get over this road mental block that he has, which is easier said than done. We're talking about a guy that is 1-11, a team that is 1-11 in their last 12 road playoff games, the Jets, getting over this kind of block. It's easier said than done, and pretty much I'll have to see it before I believe it. But nevertheless, they've given themselves a chance. Not going to be easy for a team that's 0-5 also this year alone on the road in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And you have to take on a Dallas team that's a perfect 4-0 off a loss here in the playoffs this year as well. Dallas has not dropped 2 playoff games in a row yet, but credit to the Jets. I thought everyone played. Scheifele played well. Ehlers was great. Lowry was hitting everything in sight. So great win for the Jets, but now they got to show that they can do it on the road, and that's something they have not been able to do in these playoffs. And then quickly about Carolina-Washington, there's not much to say. Carolina's the better team, start to finish. Got better as the series went on, dominated much of that series. We even have to give Freddie Anderson a lot of credit. Other than he got banged up in the New Jersey series, but he's come back and he's played very well in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. They've had contributions and he outplayed Logan Thompson, who everybody saw had just a phenomenal year. There's no doubt. They got contributions offensively from more players than Washington did, and more it was the Carolina shutdown game. The defense was off the charts, led by Jacob Slavin. That guy is so damn good. It's mind-boggling how good Jacob Slavin is as a defenseman in his own end. That guy just breaks up plays. He kills plays. He's got the reach, his stick positioning, where to be in the D zone to kill the play, and body position and where to be. He's just on top of it. And that's what makes him an elite, I think, defensive defenseman in the NHL. And I think Jacob Slavin showed it in that series. Svechnikov, what a sight for sore eyes for Carolina to see this guy finally stepping up, playing great hockey in the playoffs. It's been long overdue. I thought he had an awesome series for the Hurricanes. They got some depth contributions as well, even with a quiet series from Aho. That's the funny part. Aho didn't really get much going in the series, and yet Carolina was just hands down, start to finish better. I thought Rod Brind'Amour outmaneuvered Spencer Carberry. A great season for Carberry, and he's a great coach, and he will continue to be a great coach, but it's a learning experience for him because all his adjustments didn't work, and Rod Brind'Amour clearly got the better of him here in this series. And at the end of the day, it was a lackluster series for Ovi. Protas didn't get back to his form from that injury. And a lot of the other, Dubois was just miserable in this playoff run for Washington. He was not good at all. And those are guys that they had big seasons for them and didn't have a great series for Washington. And a big reason why they're not moving on now past the second round as Carolina advances and knocks them out. And with that defense right now, And if they can make life easy on Freddie Anderson, and they clearly did that against Washington. It's not like Freddie Anderson was being peppered with 40 shots a night or 30 shots a night. They kept the shots on goal mitt to a low, and they allowed it to be easy peasy for Freddie. And, and he's been great because when he's faced the shots, he's made some great saves. But they make life easy on him because that defense as a team is just suffocating at times. And that's the kind of team defense that can have them going a long way. Well, they say Florida in the next round, likely. We'll see. Although Toronto might, we'll see if they have something to say about it. But like I said, the next round for Carolina will be Florida or Toronto in the East Final. And I think with their defense alone, Carolina, they've got a shot. A team that coming into the playoffs, I was not convinced Carolina had a great shot to win the Stanley Cup. But boy, oh boy, if you're going to defend like that, the way you have in that series against Washington, now it's going to be tougher against either a Florida or Toronto, in my opinion. But you certainly give them a chance if you're going to play team defense like that. You're going to give yourself a chance to win games and win individual series. Alex, time to turn to you. Your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, I'll quickly breeze through with Carolina and Washington too, because like I said, it was just a matter of a team, like I said, getting better as the series went on, and a team running out of steam in Washington. And we talked about it in the group chat, and said, well, the team expelled so much energy late in the year after Four Nations to one, of course, try to lock up the division title and get their playoff spot, but also, of course, Ovechkin and the record. That took a lot of mental energy, and having to go, especially when you think about those last games, and then the countdown, and then the game against the Hawks where he ties the record, then the game in Long Island, on Long Island, I should say, when he sets the record, and just the ceremonies and everybody getting off the bench. That's a lot. We always talk about that at the beginning of the year, right? We always talk about how we look for how long is a certain ceremony. We like to fade the championship team because the ceremony goes an hour and a half, and there's a whole lot of emotion, and the other team sitting there jittery saying we didn't win shit, let's go kick their ass. Like we always talk about that handicap in October, but that's something that and we did say factor in there's a lot of things surrounding that, and it didn't seem like that took a lot of energy out of them based on how they played. They continued to win games. They looked sharp. They looked sharp in the first round series, but it seemed like everything just kind of collapsed on them all at once right at this series. And like I said, when you cross that with Carolina playing good defense, Freddie Anderson making big saves, and they're actually getting some timely scoring, that just was a recipe for disaster for the Caps. And it's unfortunate to see their season come to an end like that. But like I said, Carolina now looks like a bona fide contender, where we were a little shaky on them in the first round. We knew they'd get through their first round series because New Jersey was just so damn banged up. So we wondered, okay, maybe that would be kind of a sleeping giant move where okay, they get through an easy opponent, and then all of a sudden they have to run into this hot Washington team. But this Caps just ran out of steam. It's a good season for them. Obviously, great for Ovechkin to get the record, and I think now they know, because they have a lot of talent that's coming up. That in that immediate group with Hershey, they can make another run back to the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to be the best team in the East again, but they can make another run back to the playoffs next year. And then the last couple of years of Ovechkin's contract, they can be competitive. They don't have to hit that rebuild button right away like it seemed like they would have to do a couple of years ago. They've made enough strides in progress. Getting a goaltender like Logan Thompson, that was the biggest pickup of the season for I think any team in the league. He gives them some solid goaltending for the next couple of years, next several years. And even when you look at the guys in the pipeline that they have, they didn't look like they'd be starters, but now you don't have to worry about even getting backups as far as Washington's concerned. You have that position locked up for the first time since Ole Kozik was in town. So you have that. You still have the veterans, and you still have a mix of young guys that can come up within the next year or two and give you something. Now, if you start looking in the cupboard further down, they've got some issues here and there, but they can be competitive for the next couple of years. So if you're a Caps fan, that wouldn't hang your head too low. They could be right back in the things. And the fact that maybe next year they get in as a, say, 4 or 5 seed kind of spot, they get in, maybe as a wild card team, they could maybe sneak up and maybe pull an upset on a bigger team, a more powerful team next year, because those younger kids have that development. Remember, talking about a lot of guys from Hershey that won back-to-back Calder Cups and then get this playoff experience with the Capitals. So they're doing things right. It seemed a little iffy the last couple of years, but they've done a lot. And, of course, you got to give credit to Spencer Carberry as well. just a tremendous job with this group over the last couple of years, and he's going to continue to grow and develop at this league as well. So it's not as gloomy as it once seemed in DC for sure. But like I said, Capitals move on to the next round, and then you look at Dallas and Winnipeg, and it's nerve-wracking now for me at this point, because here I am with this ticket for the exact series, and I'm 5 out of 6 right now. I need Dallas to close it out on Saturday for a huge payday. But that game played just like I thought it would when I made that bet going back before the series started. It just felt like that kind of, okay, Dallas rolls in with a 3-1 lead.
And you had Dallas to win game 1 and the series initially too.
I have Dallas to win game 1 of the series, but I also have Dallas to win game 1, Winnipeg to win game 2, Dallas winning game 3 and 4, Winnipeg to win game 5, and then Dallas to take game 6. And I felt like that would be the classic kind of game 5 setup. How many times have we seen a team 3-1 up, go on the road, and then that home team plays with all the desperation in the world, all the fight in the world, and that's the Jets played that like a game 7, and they handled that the way it should. But it also sets up, like you said, some beautiful situations in the game 6. You got Dallas 4-0 off a loss. The Jets are going to run with Hellebuck despite 1-11 on the road, even though you have another goaltender that maybe you could. And it seems crazy as hell to do that now at this point, because you got to dance with the girl you brought. But it's going to be maddening if you're Winnipeg and you lose this game 6.
But what if the girl
you had a guy
like
that couldn't win on the road?
What if the girl looks like a beauty queen at home, but she goes out to a restaurant or bar or anywhere outside of the house and she looks ugly as fuck?
That's it. Well,
it's
in reverse. It's in reverse. She wears the makeup out to the club, but as soon as she takes that makeup off at home, it's a mess. But I get what you're saying. It's rough, and I don't know what's going to change in that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not that Hellebuck has really even played poorly in the last couple of starts. It's been a complete breakdown. There's been defensive lapses as well. There's been, like I said, just lucky. There's been a lot of lucky bounces in the series for both teams. Like I said, you saw that the puck go off of the shin pad of the defenseman in last night, but we've seen lucky bounces go both ways in this. So you take the lucky bounce goals out. Hellebuck, he's doing the best he can, but it just seems like there's a full collapse now. And I think that we talk about getting in the mind of the goalie. I think it's gotten in the mind of maybe the defense and that whole team when they get on the road of, we got to play a little, like they tighten up even more now because they know, all right, Hellebuck, who's usually our guy, he's our wall at home. He's not on the road. And it feels like everything else just kind of, it's not as strong. So now with Dallas, like I said, when you punch them in the mouth, they respond back quickly, get back at home knowing they can close the series out at home. They guys just keep playing the way they've been playing. Swarm Hellebuck early, make him uncomfortable, never let him get settled. And they should be able to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to Winnipeg to show to everybody they can win a damn road game in the Stanley Cup playoffs, something they've not been able to do. And it's going to be up to them to change that, or else their season's over. You got to find a way to step up and play well on the road. And especially their goaltender, and they've just been unable to do that. And it's not going to be easy, obviously, in Dallas tomorrow night in that game. Jordan, your thoughts on anything from the two games we saw last night with Carolina advancing and Dallas forcing a game, or Winnipeg forcing a game 6?
Yeah, I didn't see much of the Washington-Carolina game, so I'll just
lucky you.
I'll just let you guys or your thoughts on it, let the viewers hear that. But I did see the highlights from the Winnipeg-Dallas game, and obviously, like I said, it was a pretty good game for Winnipeg, and obviously a good game for Hellebuck. Like that shutout, you never know. That maybe could be a big confidence booster for him. I personally think Dallas is too good. I think Dallas is going to win the series, in my opinion. Just the way Rantanen's been playing, they got Heiskanen back now. Ottinger's one of the best goalies in the league, so can never count him out. But you never know. I'd obviously like to see a Canadian team advance as well. It'd be nice to see Winnipeg go on, and I don't think they're out of it by any means, but it's going to be a tough hill to climb, I think, to win one, back in Dallas, and then try to win Game 7. But you never know.
That's another thing to remind Dallas fans about. Let's say Winnipeg actually steps up and they win tomorrow night on the road. And I know there's going to be some feeling that, oh my gosh, Dallas just blew their chance to win the series, because going back to Game 7 in Winnipeg, in that building, and they won a Game 7, albeit very, very fortunate, because they were down 3-1 against St. Louis, and they had the 2 miraculous goals with the extra attacker to tie it, and then they won in overtime. There are going to be some Dallas fans that give up, though, after they lose Game 6, if they lose Game 6, saying, oh, they finally won a road game. This was our chance. We didn't get it done, and now we got to go to Game 7. Don't forget, you have Mr. Game 7 in your corner, and I'm talking about Peter DeBoer, who's 9-0 in Game 7s in his head coaching career. So you've got that certainly on your side if you're Dallas, if this does go back to Winnipeg for Game 7. But I agree, you don't want to chance it. One couple things I will add about each series. For Washington, Carolina, I was impressed last night in his NHL debut. He's never been in an NHL game, let alone a playoff game before. Alexander Nikishin for the Carolina Hurricanes last night, the big young prospect Russian defenseman. He really played well. He was physical. He has a wicked shot as far as how hard he shoots the puck. That thing was a blistering off his stick last night, the couple of times he shot that puck. And I know he was only in the lineup because Jalen Chatfield was injured for Carolina. But I'd be so tempted if I'm Rod Brind'Amour to keep that guy in there because he was physical too. And if you're going to play, let's say, again, I don't want to bury the Leafs here, but let's say it's Florida, you're going to need physicality in that kind of series. And, Alexander Nikishin is definitely someone that could do that for you. I thought he was are you kidding? For his first game, and it was in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it was on the road in a closeout game. I was so impressed with what I saw from the kid last night. And then the other thing I'll say about Edmonton Dallas is I expect them to go back to 12 forwards and 6D on Saturday night in Game 6. I think they will. I think they're starting to ramp up Miro Heiskanen even more, and I think they'll go back to the 12 forwards and 6D after playing 11-7 the last 2 games. Now that they've lost 2 with the 11-7 lineup, I think Peter DeBoer will go back to 12-6 now, 12 forwards, 6 defensemen Saturday night for Game 6 in that series with the Jets and the Stars. All right, let's get into tonight's game. It's the only ticket in town tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And this is going to be a reputation definer, a legacy definer for the Toronto Maple Leafs, in particular, 16-34 on this hockey team, who were easily, it's without debate, the worst players on the ice in Game 5. Not even close. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner could not be found with a telescope in Game 5. And obviously I ranted about this big time, and I'm not going to go in, I'm not going to bring it all up again after we ranted about it yesterday. But those guys were just totally invisible, horrific in Game 5. If they're going to have a chance to win tonight and make this amazing comeback that nobody expects is going to happen, those two need to screw in and be difference makers from the onset tonight. It's really that simple. Or else season's over again, like it usually is for the Leafs, the second round or sooner. We've got Florida minus 230, home favorites, 5.5, the total in this game. I'd also like to see Mitch Marner give up his second career tonight, figure skating. I hope he gives that up tonight. No triple axles, no triple Lutzes, none of that in your own zone and spinorama blind backhands through the zone thinking you're a figure skater. You're not Brian Boitano. You're not Kurt Browning. You're not Elvis Stoico. You're a fucking hockey player. Play like it. None of that nonsense tonight. I still can't believe he did that the other night. Like I still can't believe in a game of that importance, that guy decides a spinorama blind backhand pass through the middle and then not even quitting on the back check too. Boquist, who had to come back into the zone to be onside and then just beats him to the net. Jordan Sandbrook would never allow that to happen. Never. Guarantee it. I've seen this guy. He plays a hard game on the blue line for Florida in the ECHL. That's a disgrace. And if that's the effort you're going to give, in an important game like that, it's shameful. And Austin Matthews gave the puck away on the first goal that Ekblad scored. Couldn't clear the puck, lost it, came back to the point, and it ended up being 1-0 in favor of Florida there. So no figure skating tonight, Mitch. Play hockey. Play hard hockey. That might be asking a lot for him, but we'll have to wait and see on that. No question. But look, Toronto, I'm sure Craig Berube's had this team in like a dungeon mindset here. Get them in the cave and come together and just figure this out. And I'm sure he's had some things to say to that team after Game 5. How could he not? After what a debacle it was. In a game like that, you laid an egg collectively, and your best players laid an egg. If there's any character, heart, spine, guts, if they give two shits about this effort to change the reputation, be a winning team in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and win a Stanley Cup, there is no question that tonight, if the Leafs are going to show anything, it's got to happen right off the hop, off the opening faceoff. It's got to be right from the opening puck drop that this team wins battles, hits everything in sight, and plays a completely different front foot style. They almost looked timid against Florida the other night, timid to make a play, timid to make a mistake, fearful of what the Florida Panthers were going to do to them in Game 5, because that first period set the tone for the whole game. Craig Berube was 100% right about that in his postgame. The first period set the tone. When you're getting outshot 14-4 in your own barn in a game of that importance, you could take a 3-2 series lead in that series, knowing that if you lose, you got to win a Game 6 to keep your season alive on the road in Florida, where the place will be jumping tonight. So that's what set the tone. This is not about X's and O's anymore for the Leafs. This is about, do you win battles? Do you play hard hockey? Do you knock someone on their can? Do you get in front of the net and make life miserable for Sergei Bobrovsky? Do you win? Do you play a physical brand of game? Do you win your battles? Do you win that battle that's going to be the difference between you losing the puck or turning it over, or you maybe scoring a goal? And I'm thinking of Austin Matthews and Marner and the core when I say that here in this game tonight. That's what's going to determine it. It's not our system. It's not the kind of style we're playing. This is all about effort. This is effort stuff tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as far as if they're going to rise up from the ashes and that all-time Game 5 horror show and be different here tonight in this game. I am going to be that bold man that it makes zero sense, but the Toronto Maple Leafs make zero sense, to take them in the first period on the money line and to take them to score a goal in the first period here tonight. But that's it. I'm not trusting them for 60 minutes. But I'm going to trust that if they're going to show any sort of, just it's a blow to your ego to play like that in Game 5. If you are going to show anything tonight and some fight to keep your season alive and keep this series alive, it's got to happen in the first 20 minutes of the hockey game, in my opinion. And I see Jordan kind of shaking his head, so I can tell he agrees with me. So I'm going to take Toronto first period money line and Toronto just to score a goal in the first period. Plus, it's that angle again where we talked about it all playoffs. You bet the team that lost the previous game to score a goal in the first period. I've basically taken it in almost every game, and you're giving me like minus 108, minus 110 with Toronto to score a goal in the first period. I'll take it. But I'm not trusting them for a full game. I could see, because look what happened in Game 3. The one game they could have won in Florida. They had the great start. They had the lead, with a great first period. And then 3-1 in the second, and then Florida comes back, gets the 2 quick goals to tie it, and Florida ended up winning in overtime in Game 3. But they had the good start in Game 3, so they can do it. They showed you they can do it. Come out strong in Florida, because they did it in Game 3. They were up 2-0 in the first 5 minutes. Matthew Nyes scored in 23 seconds into that game, and then Tavares made it 2-0. So I'll trust the Leafs for the first 20, but that's all. Because, like I said, closing it out, that's another story. I like the third period over more than the full game over here tonight in this game. I'll dabble in the 5.5, but I like the third period over, and I like the empty net goal prop as well. I'm always interested in that in elimination games as well. So those will be the plans of attack here for me when it comes to Leafs and Panthers here tonight. I do have some props that I'll mention in just a bit, but Alex, will throw it to you first. Leafs, Panthers, Game 6.
Yeah, so this is a recent revelation within the last hour or so. At BetMGM, and I noticed this morning, Jonathan Davis actually brought it to our attention in the group chat around 9 a.m. You could go and bet team to score empty net goal. Maple Leafs were plus 200. Florida was plus 600, which was clearly an error.
Clearly
that hung around.
Yeah.
It hung around for about 4 hours. I was still able to grab it. I know clients that I had were able to grab it. It is now pulled off the board completely. So the only thing you can bet at MGM is, will there be an empty net goal scored, which is yes, plus 110. So I have both those in pocket, but the only thing you can play right now that's widely available at MGM is the empty net goal to score, yes, plus 110. I also did at FanDuel Florida Panthers third period over 1.5 goals plus 180. So that would be kind of the other back end way to bet Florida specifically to get goals late in the contest. But I think Florida goes on and wraps this up. Like I said, it would be imperative for Toronto to score first, which you can get great odds on that. Toronto first goal plus 125. First goal in first period is plus 175. So
Wow.
if I see how the pace is going, I can wait for those live. I can wait for those to go to cross to like plus 200 for first goal in first period, or plus 150 first goal just a couple minutes in the contest if I see Toronto's delivering that pace. But if Florida comes out rocking and rolling with that home crowd behind them, and they get out to an early lead, this thing could get ugly. And this could be another 6-1, 6-2 kind of a contest like we saw in Game 5. So I think Florida does close this one up. I like the empty net goal looks. I did, like I said, bet those earlier, and also added that third period Florida team total over 1.5 in the third period plus 180, which that's available at FanDuel. But those are the ways I'm looking at it. I think if Toronto doesn't score first, Florida jumps out, then this could be an ugly game. If Toronto does score first, I still think it goes back and forth and ends up in Florida's way.
Pierre Maguire mentioned this on his podcast with our buddy Jimmy Murphy, and he's right on this point. Paul Maurice made a absolutely under the radar, not enough people talking about it, lineup change a few games ago, where he went with he took Mackie Samoskevich out of the lineup, and there was someone else that was in there on the bottom forward group, Sturm, and he decided, I'm going with a crash and bang, smash mouth, in your face fourth line. And he put it together, I think, in game 3 or 4. It was AJ Greer with Jonah Gadjevich and Tomas Nosek. Put those three together. That's been such a physical fourth line for Florida. And I've paid attention to most of their shifts the last couple games, especially in Game 5. They are hitting Tanev, McCabe, Carlo, Riley, all of these Leafs defensemen at every opportunity. They are smashing these guys and just trying to wear them down physically. That's the Florida way. And Paul Maurice put those guys together, and it was a stroke of genius now because of the way they're playing, physically. And they kind of wearing down the Leafs. I think that's part of the reason why it was such a bad night for them. They're getting physically beaten to a pulp by some of these Florida guys, including that fourth line that Paul Maurice put together, Greer, Nosek, and Gadjevich, who have always been in it physically. That's been part of it. And obviously that line's played well. I know, and we're going to get Jordan's thoughts as a Leaf fan. I want to hear from Jordan not only about tonight's game, what he thinks is going to happen for the Leafs, but what he thought of Game 5 as well, the last game. But I know and I'll also get Jordan's thoughts on this, because I know there's some Leaf fans that are up. Craig Berube's done a phenomenal job. Win or lose this series, that shouldn't, desecrate the job Craig Berube's done this year. I think he's still done a great job with this team as a coach. But I know there are Leaf fans frustrated that going into this Game 6 and knowing the way they played in Game 5, the two of them, the two best players on the team, arguably, that he's keeping Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner together on the top line. I know there are a lot of people upset about that he's not splitting them up, trying to force Florida to have to defend, both of them on separate lines. The thing is, though, that Matthews, Marner, Nyes trio on the top line has worked very well for most of the year. And I think Craig Berube, in his press conference this morning, when being asked about keeping especially Matthews and Marner together, said, I believe in them. They've been a great line for us all year. So I'm going to stick with them, and I'm going to believe them believe in them, or at least try to believe in them here in a must-win, backs against the wall Game 6 here tonight on the road. So he's sticking with it right now with Matthews and Marner on the same line with Nyes. And there are two changes for the game tonight. It looks like we've got Calle Yarn. I'm going back to Calle. Yes, he's going back to Calle Yarncroke. Craig Berube, he's back after being a healthy scratch last game. He's back in the lineup, as is Toronto. There's someone else too, I think, that's back. Holmberg, that's it. Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, Holmberg back with Tavares and Nylander, it looks like, on the second line. So Nick Roberts comes out after going in Game 5. David Kampf comes out after going in Game 5. So those are the lineup changes that draw. Basically going back to the way they kind of looked early in the series, when they were having the success. It was Holmberg and Yarncroke early in the series. He's going back to that, and he's keeping Marner and Matthews together. We'll see how it turns out. All right, Jordan, you're the Leaf fan of the bunch on this panel, on this screen right now. Floor is yours. Talk about Game 5, how disappointed you were, and what you expect tonight here in Game 6.
Yeah, Game 5 obviously was pretty tough. I watched it, and it didn't look like they had much gas or much energy or much of anything, really. Our coach always tells us if you don't have your legs, let's say, you're tired, you're injured, whatever, just do something positive out there, whether it be, get the puck deep, as simple as that, get the puck out of your own zone, get on the forecheck, hit somebody. You don't have to be all over the ice, dangling everybody, trying to score goals, but whatever you got that night, give it to 100%. And it just felt like in Game 5 that wasn't the case. It's when it kind of got out of hand, 3-4-0, and just looked like they were trying to, go 1-on-5 and do all these things that, isn't going to work in any league, really. So I don't know. It was a tough game to watch. I do like that they scored late in the game. Even some games that we have, we win 4-1 and we give up like a late goal or say 3-1. It is a bit demoralizing. You're like, I should have had the shutout kind of thing. So from a personal perspective, it gives me a little bit of more hope, I guess. And then I guess going into Game 6 tonight, I hope they win. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be quite 6-1, but I do think that personally, it might be a little biased. I do think they win tonight, and I would pick Panthers in 7 right now. I just feel like that is the most Maple Leafs thing that's going to happen. They'll give.
We mentioned that. How hope. Leafs would it be? Bring everyone back into believing and hoping again after a big Game 6 win where you totally wipe away the awful taste of Game 5 and everyone plays a hell of a game and you win a great, great game in that building and you come back home to a dead, sterile, nervous, tight Scotiabank Arena, wine and cheese crowd, and you lay another egg and stinker in Game 7.
That would be bad. That would be bad. I'd be worried for the city of Toronto if that happens with all those people outside. That you're asking for trouble if that ends up happening. Hopefully that's not the case.
Do you imagine? Oh my gosh! I know people hate the Leafs, but I don't even know if their mortal enemy would wish that.
I wouldn't wish that. Yeah, I wouldn't. Any team. Detroit is the only team I would wish that upon. But other than that, that would just be brutal.
Yeah, I don't know. That just feels like something that the Leafs would do. I hope I'm wrong. I obviously want the Leafs to win, but I don't know. Tonight, I think it's going to be a good game. I seriously do. I think the Leafs will come out strong. Like you guys talked about, the first goal and first period is huge. Even I know for our team, I think we were during the season, we were 30-2 when we scored the first goal or something like that. And I'm sure most of the teams throughout the league are pretty significant win percentage when they score the first goal. So getting that early and trying to get the crowd out of it, it will be huge. And I assume Joseph Wall is starting tonight. So
yep. Stolarz is not coming back until at least a conference final if they get there.
Yeah. So another big game out of him. Yeah. Hopefully that couple goals. I know, he played a good game, Game 4, I guess it was. And, you need your goalie to be your best player really on the ice during these moments. And, I got the confidence in Wall and hopefully he can do that. Obviously a few shaky goals in the last game, but
don't forget how well he played the last time he was in this building, Jordan, Game 4. I know they lost that game, but it's much worse if not for Joseph Wall. He was amazing in that game. Terrific.
Yeah, he was incredible. So he's shown in the playoffs. So and obviously I think hopefully last year's kind of experience that he got helps him out tonight, and Leafs go on to win in 7. But we'll see. It'll be good. It's a tough Florida team, obviously. So
I mean, if they're worth anything, if they're worth any salt whatsoever, they've got to play like their hair's on fire tonight after what happened in Game 5. Or if not, then I don't know what to say. You clearly, and Jeff O'Neill said this on the radio, TSN, and they dissected this like crazy for 3 hours on their show yesterday. This is either a group of players that just choke in this moment over and over again, or they don't care enough to fix it and dig down deep to find something else to get the job done. It's one of the two. It's either you choke year in and year out, and you seize up in the pressure moments, or you just don't care enough to dig down and find something extra special to win games like this. Because all the Stanley Cup champion teams do that. They find something extra, that extra gear, and go outside their comfort zone to find that extra gear. Leafs never do that. That's what they've got to do. If they're going to win tonight and ultimately come back and win the series here in this against obviously the mighty Stanley Cup champions. Prop-wise for this game, I do want to point out a few that I'm looking at. Aaron Ekblad's one of the best things going right now as far as point prop. I mean, he's gotten a point in 5 straight games for the Florida Panthers. He scored, obviously, the first goal of Game 5. He's actually gotten a point in 9 of his last 10 games overall, Aaron Ekblad. So his point, Bennett obviously has been a thorn in the Leafs side. His point prop is still reasonable, and he's gotten a point now in 3 straight games. It looks like Paul Maurice is keeping the lines the same as they were in Game 5. Makes sense. You don't want to alter a winning lineup, especially when you won 6-1. So Jesper Boquist, man, I'm coming right back to it with Barkov and Reinhart. Cashed the bargain bin special the other night with him, plus 500. Jesper Boquist, there's great value with him up there on that top line for the Florida Panthers, in my opinion. I think Lusterine, Lundell, and Marchand continue to be noticeable. You can take your pick with any of those 3. Now, for Toronto, you'd like to say this is the night finally for Matthews and Marner. I want to see it before I believe it, personally. If I'm going to look at anyone for Toronto to make a difference offensively, McMahon's ice cold. Pacioretty's down on the 3rd line. I could make a case for Pacioretty, but he's down on the 3rd line now. The 4th line has worked their ass off, but they have not been able to find the back of the net. Laurent Salatin and Yarncroke. I'm going to our guy. You know who it is. Hungry Nyes. 1 goal from you, and I can't describe. Matthew Nyes. How can we not? Like I said, he is the one guy on this team. He's the one guy, actually, I would absolve of any blame for what happened in Game 5. Because even when that game is lost for the Toronto Maple Leafs the other night, he's still trying to win puck battles. He's still trying to win foot race situations, and he's still playing his guts out, to try to win that game or, play right till the end, even when it's 5-6-0 at the time. He's been phenomenal. You needed more Matthew Nyes, on this team to have success. So definitely Matthew Nyes as far as my favorite, if I were to look at a goal prop for sure on the Toronto side, that is definitely what I would be looking at. No question. Would be Matthew Nyes to be able to find the back of the net. You're getting good prices again because he's on the road as well. So keep that in mind for the Toronto Maple Leafs here going into this game. Block shots. Benoit. We've talked about how he's been a shot blocking machine. He's probably a good one to consider for any blocked shots props. He's been pretty damn consistent with that throughout the course of the playoffs. So make sure you're aware of that. And like I said, you've got Matthew Nyes. He's actually hitting the 300 mark at a couple of books as far as scoring a goal tonight here in Game 6 for Toronto. But yeah, he's one of the guys that, has, I think, given you that hard effort, hard on the puck, winning the battles that, this team, unfortunately, a lot of their best players lack. So I think Matthew Nyes is someone easily I'm more than willing to target here as far as maybe making a difference and finding the back of the net here for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight in this game. Great stuff. Jordan, we'll let you run. And what I'll say to you, Jordan, is thanks for joining us, but I know you're getting ready tomorrow night for Game 1 of the ECHL Kelly Cup Finals with your Florida Everblades. Looking forward to seeing it. We wish you all the best. And like I said, you're halfway home to an unprecedented 4th straight Kelly Cup championship as a franchise. A lot of work to do still, but like I said, we have belief, we have faith, and like I said, you got a hell of a team there. We wish you all the best the rest of the way.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's always great to be on here and to see everybody and see everybody in the chat. So thank you very much, and hopefully the next time I'm on, I'll have a third chance.
Maybe it's you and Matty Robinson's buddy again in the final, David Cotton with the Kansas City Mavericks.
Maybe.
And of course, you were traded for each other. That's the same thing. You were involved in the same damn trade. Yeah. A couple of years ago. Yeah.
So that'd be good. No, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for having me on.
All right, we'll be cheering you on, my friend. Go get him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There he is, Jordan Sandbrook, with us on the Ice Guys show. And like I said, ECHL conference finals starting. Well, actually, it's already game one. Toledo won game one at Kansas City last night, so they're up 1-0 in that series. The East final gets underway tomorrow night with game one between Florida and Trois-Rivières. That'll be a good series. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this game tonight, no doubt about it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you sign up, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. We are going to have 2 betcasts next week, guaranteed. We're going to have a free betcast and a Patreon exclusive betcast. The free one will be the one free one for the month of May. That's going to happen next week. We'll have a Patreon exclusive live betcast again next week as well. Dates to be determined. We'll be into the conference finals, though, when we do start these betcasts. So it's going to be nice and quick. We're going to have just 1 game betcasts a night, a nice 2.5, 3-hour betcast twice next week. So make sure you join us. Standalone games, but still excited as we get down to the Final Four in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs next week. So make sure you sign up, just $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. And as I announced yesterday, we're going to do more Player Suite interview recordings over the offseason. We're going to get some of those scheduled and done. I'm going to be posting a daily card on the page for my wagers throughout the summer that don't involve hockey as just a little bonus and thank you to anyone keeping their subscriptions active and alive throughout the course of the summer. So CFL stuff, any baseball stuff, any of the other sports that I handicap, we'll put a daily card up on the Patreon page for everybody. So looking forward to that as well. So those of you that decide, even with the NHL season ending, to keep your subscription going, you're still going to get something out of it at patreon.com/iceguys. So again, make sure you check it out. Make sure you subscribe before the next exclusive live betcast on Patreon next week. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys.
And we will also create a baseball chat in the chat room at Patreon as well. We have, of course, those other chat rooms. So we'll have a baseball chat along with Ian's plays, so you guys can converse and share plays as well during the baseball season to keep things flowing during the summer. But also check out the Ice Guys store over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You got 4 days left to save 20% off of all your orders. Like I said, we got everything in stock right now. Just check and make sure. Yeah, we've got everything. Everything's in stock. Caps, shirts, hoodies, mugs, you name it. We've got it right now. You can save 20% off for the next 4 days. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
About that. There we go. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Make sure you check it out. Get the great gear, get the great merch. The Robinson gear is still available. So make sure you get that as well. No doubt. All right. Bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Alex, have you checked out the latest with the great trading platform Kalshi?
Yes, I have. It's been fantastic. This is one of the first and only federally regulated prediction markets in the U.S. And if you're looking for odds for all kinds of different things, not just what we're talking about, the markets in the Stanley Cup, the NBA Finals, you can trade with crypto. You can look for trades within the markets involving entertainment, politics. There's all kinds of different markets you can look for. I mean, you can use the odds over at Kalshi.
Time of year to get involved with Kalshi. Certainly if you're a sports fan. Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, baseball now underway, with all the different markets to create winning trades. Make sure you're checking out all that Kalshi has to offer.
Absolutely. And if you're trading with Kalshi, use the link kalshi.com/ice guys. You trade $100 or more, they will send you $10 back. So it's fantastic to use, like I said, any kind of markets beyond sports. We're talking entertainment, politics, crypto, basically anything you want.
So make sure you sign up, kalshi.com/ice guys. Note that it's live on Robinhood and available in all 50 states, making it the first legal place to trade on these kind of events nationwide. Check it out, kalshi.com/ice guys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code IceGuys, and kalshi.com/ice guys. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Friday slate. Well, it's not really a slate. It's one game. It's Toronto, Florida, Game 6, bargain bin special. Obviously, we had that crazy night 2 nights ago with Kapanen and Boquist. Last night didn't hit, but that's all right. We'll see if we can get it back here tonight. Alex, bargain bin special. What do you like?
Yeah, I talk about it all the time. There's certain players and teams that have that killer instinct, which is the reason why teams end up having killer instinct and they were able to close out series. One of those big guys that always steps up and closes out games for Florida is Alexander Barkov. I like him to score not once but twice tonight. I got him plus 1,700 over at FanDuel. Alexander Barkov, 2 goals tonight as Florida looks to close out Toronto.
The captain, El Capitan, Alexander Barkov, over 1.5 goals for Alex for the Florida Panthers and his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, he's plus 300 right on the button at Bet365. I already talked about him. Matthew Knies, Toronto. One last time maybe, if the Leafs indeed go home tonight. Hungry Knies. Matthew Knies, plus 300. For the Toronto Maple Leafs for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets for Game 6. Leafs, Panthers. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Well, I got to go with the one play that is still available and hasn't moved because in the time that I mentioned third period, team total over with Florida, that went from plus 180 to plus 152. So we are going for the best bet. An empty net goal in the game, plus 110. This is available at BetMGM. It's still available as of now. Hopefully they don't pull this one down either. But I do believe we see an empty net goal. I think it comes from Florida. Some people might think it comes from Toronto. It won't matter as long as we get an empty net goal. Plus 110. That's my best bet for this game tonight.
There you go. Empty net goal from any team. Just an empty net goal. Toronto, Florida, plus 110 for Alex B. Smith with his best bet. My best bet, we cashed a best bet last night with Washington. Goal in the first period. It was the only goal they scored in the game. So they did the job for me last night, Washington. It's the only goal they got, but they got it in the first period to cash the best bet for me on yesterday's show. And I'm going to go with Toronto, the exact same bet. Goal in the first period, minus 108 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. If they are worth any sort of shit, they will show up in the first 20 minutes after the embarrassment of Game 5. Will it be enough to win the game? We'll see. But I do think first 20 minutes, Leafs bring their best and have a decent chance to get on the board. And we'll rock with it for best bet. Toronto, goal in the first period, minus 108 for my best bet for this Game 6 between the Leafs and the Panthers. A shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, we will have a show tomorrow, noon Eastern, because we do have Game 6 with Winnipeg and Dallas. We'll reach out to the Robinson boys, see if either of them want to join us. And if not, it'll just be Alex and I tomorrow on the show. But we will be here for Dallas and Winnipeg, Game 6 tomorrow at noon Eastern. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. Thanks to Jordan Sambrook for joining us earlier, and all the best to him as his Everblades, Florida Everblades, keep their run for another Kelly Cup play championship going. Thanks to him for joining us. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back tomorrow on Saturday, noon Eastern, to get you ready for Game 6, Winnipeg and Dallas, right here on the Ice Guys.